So Evan is playing a Jund aggro deck. It is it's similar to what we've seen Cedric play earlier today, with the Arbor Elf, Gyre Sage sort of ramp combo into Falcon Wrath Aristocrats and Thundermaw Hellkites at the top end, and he's also running the 4 Bonfire of the Damned and 2 Dreadbore package in the sideboard. Andrew is playing fan favorite Junk Reanimator.
So he's actually more of like a Jund mid-range deck. He's not playing like the Drag Mangler version. I mean, you can't say Jund mid-range. I don't know. It's like big Jund.
I think this actually might be like it might be
this
75.
This is Cedric's list.
Yeah,
I think.
It looks really, really close. If it's not, it's like 73 cards, 74 cards.
All right.
Anyways, to action. So Andrew on the play has a Arbor Elf, and he's now going to play an Avacyn's Pilgrim, and it looks like we're mulching. Yep.
Yeah, a really fast start for Andrew. His mulch looks like it's sick, drawing 3 cards and binning a Lingering Souls.
Yeah.
Andrew firing on all cylinders.
Draw a card, then draw 3 more cards. You don't have like the dream of, oh, I'm going to discard to hand size. Here's a Restoration Angel and Unburial Rites.
It doesn't look like he has any big threats yet. He has a Garruk and a Centaur Healer.
Yeah. Which, is going to be fine for this matchup. He's going to be able to slow Evan's development with the Garruk.
And there we go, Angel of Serenity. Now we have something to build into.
So, Andrew, clean living's working out for him. He's drawing well. So, looks like we also have an Acidic Slime here. I think I like playing the Garruk here.
It's a Garruk. It's a little Garruk. If we're a big Garruk, I would agree, but it's a little one. And in that case,
you don't want to just punch the Gyre Sage and get it out of here.
Nah, Acidic Slime couldn't do that, I think.
Okay.
I mean, I guess they're both destroying mana.
Although, so the Acidic Slime may prevent Evan from evolving his Gyre Sage, in which case it's a double Stone Rain.
Yeah, I mean, he should. Evan has Burning Tree, Emissary, Flinthoof, Boar are the only creatures he can actually play this turn that would evolve Gyre Sage.
Yeah, so that's cutting down his outs. So looking at Evan's hand, he's got a couple of red cards. I think he may have a Burning Tree Emissary, and maybe a Thundermaw Hellkite. Yeah, and so he's got a fairly land-heavy hand, but it looks like he's casting Emissary into evolve into Thundermaw next turn.
Yeah, so, and going back, okay, maybe I misspoke. The correct play does seem that he should have killed the Gyre Sage. The card is, it's probably correct.
Being able to get a potential threat off the board and Stone Rain is good, but like you're playing the odds, and if your opponent doesn't have a 2-drop, the Acidic Slime is just like wow, ratings bonanza.
Yeah, and it gives you the opportunity then next turn just start fetching up, to flashback Lingering Souls, fetch up Thrag Tusk.
Yeah, you definitely get to use your mana a lot more efficiently if you take Andrew's line here. So we have the predicted Burning Tree Emissary evolve pass. Setting up for the Thundermaw next turn.
Right, and so Andrew's not going to be able to keep him off the Thundermaw Hellkite based on his hand. Well, he can. I mean, Garruk can still do Garruk fight Gyre Sage, which that seems very correct now.
Yeah. If you do that, you then have the question of like, do I want to trade my Acidic Slime for a Burning Tree Emissary? Okay, this I'm not really a super fan of.
No, I was hoping that this was going to protect the Garruk after it fought Gyre Sage.
Like, I either want to protect the Garruk with it, or I want to preserve it so that I can get some restoration action
He's
going.
just going to let the Gyre Sage happen. That's a little... Okay, he's going to go...
Okay.
He's going to slime again.
Stone Rain, Stone Rain, Stone Rain.
Fun. Magic cards.
The thing is, though, like, Evan has developed his board and has developed his mana, and now, like, he
next
just
turn
needs
next
a
turn he has
3-drop.
the Angel.
Yeah.
I mean, Evan, slime into Angel's pretty unbeatable.
That is true. Yeah, so
I don't think the Garruk's ever going to happen.
Get 7.
Yeah, like you said before, Andrew really firing on all cylinders this game.
Yeah. So at this point, I think Evan is playing a Mana Elf and is playing a tapped land and probably passing the turn. And when we see the inevitable Angel from Andrew, we're just going to eat Evan's board, attack for 4. And he's just set back so far that we're going to be able to kill him over the next 2 turns.
I would
probably.
think so. and we still have a Garrick. It's not like he's done. He's not like we're exhausted. It's not Andrew's exhausting his hand of threats at that point.
That's absolutely true. All right. So here's the Angel of Serenity. Oh, got all your guys.
And Evan really never had the chance to play this game. Andrew was able to ramp into a turn 3 Acidic Slime, turn 4 Acidic Slime, turn 5 Angel of Serenity. Evan's never untapped with more than 2 mana sources this game.
Interestingly, though, I think like if Evan is on the play this game, it goes very differently. He's able to get off a Thundermaw Hellkite around like turn 3 or 4.
Well, absolutely, he's been 1 turn away from really exploding with really breaking out with mana every turn.
And he's also had a Bonfire of the Damned in his hand for at least a turn or 2. So if he had ever untapped with 3 mana, he would have been able to get rid of Andrew's acceleration and catch up in this game.
So game 1 goes to Andrew Butterworth. That's a little bit of an atypical game 1. The Acidic Slime plan is not always how you'd think that the deck would beat aggro, and it typically doesn't. Yeah. I think it's because he was able to double ramp into it, make a turn 3 slime, turn 4 slime on the play that was able to work. Typically that plan does not, on the draw, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And it's on the play, also, on turn 4, it's probably not good enough.
It's also only going to be effective against these bigger aggro decks. Like if you do that against Nihiblitz, you're going to lose.
They just won't care. You're
they already
2/2s
have their hands out. Yeah. So we can take a look at the sideboards here. For Evan, it looks like he's going to bring in the Ground Seals. That's pretty clear. He can bring in the Garrick Relentlesses that he's got on the sideboard to fight the Mana Elves, which seems reasonable. I don't think Domri is what he wants to be doing, and I don't think he wants the point removal spells. And then,
well, he certainly doesn't want the point removal. And Domri's not exactly it either. That's for a control deck. Yeah. Andrews goes over the top instead of, so extra resources doesn't help Evan out as much as he might hope they would.
Yeah. And so Bonfire doesn't seem super good in this game. Like it's going to be good over like a 2-turn window to be able to kill the Mana Elves.
I'm okay with that. Actually.
You're okay with that?
Yeah. I don't know that I keep all of them, but I would love to have a hand where on turn 3 I Bonfire for 1. That sounds great.
Okay.
That's a great, if I do that on turn 3, yeah, and I get like 2 of your mana creatures, I am thrilled about that play.
And like you're also okay with like getting one of his
one.
Guys,
yeah, okay, 2 is a little.
Spend 3 mana for that. I mean, like this is the risk of a miracle.
I mean, it's a turn.
Yeah.
Like if he has one Bonfire in his opener is good. Because there's enough mana creatures in Andrew's deck that I think he'll get a creature with it, and he'll probably cost Andrew a turn. That said, 2 is terrible. So because of that, I don't know if I want all 4 of them anymore, because 4, when I think about what a card means to play, when you decide a number for a card, 4 means like I want this card and I want the second one of it. I want this every game. And I don't think that's Evan's opinion on it. So I would think maybe leave 2 in.
Okay.
Possibly, you could leave in 3, but no more than that.
Okay. So what do we think from Andrew's side of things?
Well, Andrew's got to be thrilled that he won game 1 in this matchup. He's the mid-range deck, and he took game 1. That's great.
Yeah.
He's going to overload on removal, I would imagine. He has 2 Tragic Slips, he has an Abrupt Decay, he has the 4th Thragtusk, he has a Fiend Hunter, he has a Tristani, and I like them all.
Okay. Do you think that the fact that he really didn't see very much out of Evan's deck is going to impact the sideboarding here? So he saw a Burning Tree Emissary, which is a very aggro card, but he also saw a Gyre Sage, and so
if he's wise, he'll realize that Gyre Sage is a tell that this is not a blitz deck.
Yeah.
And we're 8-1 in a tournament. I think he's going to see that.
Yeah. So I think that's very reasonable. The question is, is he going to be able to put Evan on this big top end, or is it really just a mystery for him about what Evan's doing?
Well, I'm not sure his sideboarding plans really change either way.
That's a reasonable statement. So a little chit-chat between the players as they shuffle up for game 2. We're going to hopefully have our 7-card hands right now. Everybody's being very thorough about randomization. They may be talking a little bit about what it means for them to draw and for each of them to win. definitely kind of a tenuous position.
At what point, we have a comment I want to kind of respond to in that last game. I wasn't aware at what point Evan had a bonfire in his hand.
I think he drew it the turn after he played the Burning Tree Emissary to evolve. There was a red card in his hand. We thought it was Thundermaw Hellkite. It's possible that was the bonfire, and he drew the Thundermaw Hellkite.
If that was the bonfire, then he certainly... Well, yeah, that actually makes sense that it would be the bonfire, because if he drew the bonfire afterwards, we probably would have seen it miracled.
That is true.
So he may have missed a window in which to kill some mana creatures. I was under the impression it was the Hellkite, but if it is a bonfire, then yes, I'm going to agree with what people are saying where he missed an opportunity to clear mana creatures. That said, I'm not sure he's still getting that game. That's 2 lands set back, which is pretty real. Andrew's hand was going to, Andrew then at the next turn, I think he just, Garruk Relentless still eats Gyre Sage.
Yeah.
I think Evan's still in a world of trouble.
But he potentially missed a win in a world where
Andrew's hand's not the nuts.
Yeah. Where there was a ramp to an Angel, but the Angel was necessary for Andrew to win.
So turn 1, Avacyn's Pilgrim for Andrew. Remember, this is Andrew's playing for top 8 here, or playing for a shot at it at the very least. He's X1-1. Evan has 2 losses.
Yeah, so Evan is playing to stay in the top 16 and not drop to the top 32 or even 64. So we have a turn 1 Avacyn's Pilgrim into a turn 2 Gyre Sage on Evan's side, and we've drawn a Thundermaw Hellkite for the turn. We've got some removal and a Dreadbore.
Smells like a Grisly Salvage coming from Andrew Butterworth.
Yeah. And here's a bonfire for 1.
And that's exactly what I was saying. When I was saying I wanted to keep this in, if I'm Evan, I love this play. I'm fine with it. We're going to see what this Grisly Salvage is going to hit, and there's a chance that there was going to be an Unburial Rites Thragtusk, and now that's a turn. It's
slowed down by an entire turn.
It's a straight turn.
Yep. So
or it would have been a Faith Mender.
Yeah.
Or an Unburial Rites Angel of Serenity. This is
that's a pretty good flip.
That's an amazing 4 cards. He's going to get to keep. Wow. Okay. Well, he has
take the Fiend Hunter, slow down Evan. And then be able to Unburial Rites at any point in time for the Angel.
Andrew's deck is showing up when it counts.
Yeah.
Paging the following player, Jordan Isaka.
And he draws a Tragic Slip. Andrew with no shortage of land, he should be able to just play most of these things on curve. The Fiend Hunter there is just a mana denial.
Yep.
Going on, which granted Gyre Sage doesn't. Well, it does typically. If you have emissaries, it can just actually make mana off nothing.
And so we see Evan play the Gore Clan Rampager here. He knows that the Angel of Serenity is coming, so he's holding on to the Dreadbore for that. Next turn, he's going to be able to play his Thundermaw Hellkite on time, not ahead of time. And so he's still developing things, but there's a lot more gas in Andrew's court than in Evan's, and if Andrew's able to hold off on the Angel until the Thundermaw Hellkite hits the ground, I think he's going to be in pretty good shape here.
So a tap out here. He's going to go ahead and make the Angel right away.
Yeah. So when he does this, he's going to get back the Faith Mender, and he's going to be able to get rid of the Gore Clan Rampager, and he gets back his mana guy.
Yeah, it's free. Why not?
Value.
So one of the things I like when you have these really explosive darts with Reanimator, you typically think of Angel as a late game card, but he's really just playing it as a Mahamoti Jin. Granted, it killed a creature too, which is just
5/6 gets some value if you manage to kill this, but a 5/6 is pretty hard to deal with on turn 4.
Yep. Evan racing back.
Yep. So Thundermaw, tap your Angel, get in for 5.
Now, I want to point out that with Andrew at 9, Evan has the play next turn of Dreadbore, Angel, Bloodrush, Gore Clan Rampager, 9U, which is a very convenient number.
It'd be a pretty exciting way to end this game. That's Ben haymakers back and forth.
Yeah, I don't actually know if Andrew has a way to defend against that in his hand. He has a Garruk. I mean, obviously Thragtusk would be the defense, but this is where the Jund aggro. I hesitate to say that because we already have a Jund aggro deck, but I don't have a better name for it. It's really like a red-green aggro deck with black.
Yeah. And I like this goes towards the point of maybe the Angel of Serenity was a little bit too early there. That if you could have stabilized in some other way, that would have been useful.
Yeah, I don't know if he had another option. There's a 4/4 on the board. Even with the other line, there's a 4/4 on the board, which is not very good. And that play should be a losing play.
Yeah. Well, so one thing to keep in mind is Andrew does have a tragic slip in his hand. He's managed to leave up a black mana. So the Dreadbore play is not actually going to kill Andrew.
What he could. Okay, put him at 1. What he could do right now...
No, it would put him at 1 because the Dreadbore will kill the Angel, and then Morbid will be turned on.
Oh, okay, so I'll just kill that. Right. Oh, fair enough. So leaving up the black is a good point. That will not...
But I think maybe Andrew is thinking about punching his own Fiend Hunter and then killing the Thundermaw with the Tragic Slip.
Yeah. Yep, and that is exactly what he's doing.
Yep. So you get your Gyre Sage back. I get to flip my Garruk. It goes into play. Yep. That was not from Angel Serenity. It was from a Fiend Hunter. And so Garruk needs to flip over because it's now at 2 loyalty.
Judge is pointing that out.
Judge has that. We got.
Yep. I think they're covering it. It should be good there.
We got people on point. So we flipped over, and now we're going to have the Tragic Slip on the Thundermaw Hellkite.
Yeah.
So at this point, Evan still has the ability to Dreadbore the Angel of Serenity, and I think if he has land, if he has a black producing land, which he rips, he can. Oh, he didn't need a black producing land, sorry. He can recast the Gorklan Rampager afterwards, evolve the Gyre Sage, get in for 2, and have 6 points of power out against Andrew. And actually, if he gets in for 2, he'll be able to kill the Garruk.
Right. The biggest thing to note here, I'd say, is that the game has really turned into a race. Because the Junk Reanimator deck has been playing out in a way where he made the very early Angel, sometimes you almost see Junk as a control deck with Thrag Tusks trying to just, stop beats, trying to actually control the Jund deck. That's not really true. There's a fair amount of racing going on here.
Yeah.
Because there's a Kessig Wolfrun in play, Andrew's not actually going to be able to answer that.
Yeah. So at this point, does Andrew need to re-rip with another Unburial Rites?
Unburial Rites would be great. It would certainly get him the game. He can similarly. I don't know the rest of his hand. If he has another large creature to build up to, possibly another Angel, all he really needs to do is kill a couple key creatures here, and that should be good enough. If he has a card like a Grisly Salvage or a Mulch, it's probably worth his time to test the water and see if he hits an Unburial Rites.
Yeah. So it looks like he's got a Rock's Faithmender and a couple of Mana Elves, and that's about it.
Yeah, I don't know if he had the Salvage, I certainly would test with it, see if I can hit it, and then my backup plan would be to make Faithmender. But the Kessig Wolfrun really means that not this attack, but the next attack should be lethal from Evan.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Faithmender just does not have enough toughness to overcome the Rampager plus Kessig Wolfrun, and it can stem the bleeding a little bit by blocking the Gyre Sage if Evan attacks with it and gaining some life. But Andrew's going to need to draw something very good next turn, we think.
All right.
See Andrew doing some math, trying to figure out how much damage he's taking, and Evan is representing lethal with 3 points of pump from the Kessig Wolfrun.
All right, so we have. Yeah, it appears. So you can go with Rock's Faithmender. It looks like he does have mana creatures. So it doesn't seem like Andrew has a stabilizing card in his hand. You can't see the last two. There's some gold cards, so.
So Andrew chose to play a.
What is Grisly Salvage?
A card untapped. Yeah.
I think the danger here is he's going to end step the Grisly Salvage. I feel like this is where another one of those situations you have to be careful about always end stepping your instants. I think exploring exploring the like hunting for the unburial rights there with the Grizzly Salvage would probably have served him better. Because if he found it, he certainly wouldn't have wanted to make the Faith Mender. He would have wanted to make another angel.
Right, and so like you get additional information by leading with the Grizzly Salvage, and you know that the land you have in your hand will be able to cast the Faith Mender, so you might as well cast the Grizzly Salvage first.
Exactly.
Get that information, then make the optimal play. And potentially, like if he has cards that he wants to put in his graveyard, you know, he draws a land that comes into play untapped. He doesn't take that 2 damage, or he gets the bonanza of hitting the unburial rights, putting it in the graveyard, angeling everything.
Exactly. So as is, he should be able to stay alive for this turn, though it will probably cost. You know, he'll lose his creature in the process.
Yep.
Evan, shocking. Just getting the extra damage, possibly. I don't know if he has something else he's casting this turn.
I don't know.
It looks like he
does.
has a
Flinthoof Boar. That's a fine one.
So now he'll be able to give trample and +1/+0 to something. It's going to evolve Gyre Sage. This may be no. This is still not lethal.
Yeah. So
it's close. It's gonna, you know, and Andrew will need to draw with this Grizzly Salvage. We'll have to find. Really just have to find either an angel or an unburial rights.
So Evan's getting in with both of his creatures, and this.
Yep.
Is this block actually what we want to be doing?
Both blocks are the same.
Well, so if you block the Gyre Sage, you can't.
It's still
+2/+0, and so 5
blocks are the
toughness.
same. It doesn't matter which one he does.
Sorry, for some reason I had Rock's Faith Mender as 6 toughness in my head.
I kind of am hoping he hits one of those cards just as a... Okay, yeah. So, plays are actually the same. He gets 4 lands and a Restoration Angel. And draw of another land should seal this then.
Yep. We're gonna play out some blockers that don't actually matter.
Yeah, remember things have trample, so that should not be enough.
We're again playing instants at instant speed because we can. Although I
don't think it matters. I think he hasn't won this game, unfortunately. So he's going through the motions of making his opponent kill him, but that has already happened. Okay, and a Falcon
another haste creature.
Sure, okay. Where you were already just making him. He was already just telling Evan he had to turn his creature sideways. Now he's really doing it.
Yep.
So we'll be going to game 3.
It's tense.
Updates on some other players in case you're following some of your friends at home. People who should be in top 8 with draws this round would be Greg Peliquin, Jordan Judson, Austin Tolkien, and Brandon Gould. A couple other draws happened. Not all of them may be resulting in top 8, so there will be some interesting math going on. Cedric opted to play his last round. He should be in top 8 as well. So we have at least about 5 players in and about 3 spots up this round.
So Cedric's playing his last round despite being the top seed because he knows that he's guaranteed top 8 and he wants to lock up the top seed for the finals, right?
I mean, yeah, and it'll be for the finals. It's kind of interesting. It's really, there's no reason for him not to. If he plays this last round, a loss would make him the 8th seed, or maybe not the 8th seed. A loss would make him somewhere around the 5th seed. A win would make him the 1st seed, and if he draws it, he'd be about the 3 seed. So there's it doesn't really matter. It's it's a personality thing at that point. When I play it, I make it matchup dependent. If it's a deck I want in my top 8, I'll draw. If it's a deck I don't want in my top 8, I'll try to make it go away.
But so. To be really explicit about the goal here is that the top seed person gets to choose to be on the player of the draw throughout the top 8.
When 2 people play, the higher seed gets to choose.
Yeah, and so for aggressive decks, there's a high value in being able to go first, especially in aggressive mirrors.
As you see, we've seen red-black aggro mirrors going first is huge.
Right. And so that's why Cedric is playing. He's not trying to dream crush anybody. He's saying, oh, well, there's an advantage to be had by improving my standing, by locking up first as opposed to going to 3rd. And the risk isn't that high. I'd probably drop down 2 spots in the seeding chart versus jumping up to the 1st and locking it in for all 3 games of all 3 matches of the top 8.
Right. So it's not actually. It doesn't really make too much of a difference no matter which one does, because we're not actually even talking about the difference between 1st and 8th. It's 3rd and 5th is the difference we're talking about. That said, there's no reason not to battle it if you want to battle it.
so Andrew is shuffling up. It looks like Evan has presented for the game. And we are now shuffling each other's decks. So in a moment we'll be drawing our opening 7 to determine which of these gentlemen, determine whether Andrew Butterworth is going to be going to the top 8, and whether Evan Nelson is able to secure a top 16 spot.
Right. So Andrew gets to be on the play again this game, which is somewhat relevant. It's not. Neither of these are the blisteringly fast aggro decks we've seen. You know, they're not the Naya Blitzes where those decks can really live and die by the coin flip. The quality hand will still be more. You know, will still be just fine on the play or draw.
Yep. So Andrew leads with an Overgrown Tomb into an Arbor Elf, and Evan is going to lead with a Stomping Ground into a Mana Guy of his own. It looks like. Yep. And so Evan does have the Bonfire of the Damned in his hand. So he certainly has the opportunity to do what you want him to do, of spending his turn 2, killing off Andrew's Mana Guy, stunting his development, making sure that he doesn't get ahead of him.
Especially on the draw here, that's going to be very relevant. Andrew's kept his hand that he's kept is somewhat of a mystery hand. He's kept a hand of mana creatures and a lot of Grisly salvages. Typically, those hands can be very explosive or can be, honestly, duds. Because Evan has Bonfire, he's able to take away a lot of that explosiveness that Andrew's deck is capable of.
Yep. There is also a Thragtusk in Andrew's hand, but it looks like he hasn't gotten a land yet, so he's going to need to use the Grisly salvages to find more lands. So as predicted, we have Evan Nelson just hard casting a Bonfire of the Damned to get rid of Andrew's Mana Elf.
So, and a pretty good Grisly salvage does, I mean, any Grisly salvage that bins in a barrel rights is usually pretty good.
Yeah. And it has what Andrew is looking for in a land that he's going to be able to play.
The real question is whether or not he wants a mana creature or a land. Okay, so he opts for the land, so this will have a turn 4 Thragtusk as opposed to what would have been a turn 3 Thragtusk.
Yep. And he's still. I think the reasoning there may be that, you know, he had a forest left in his hand, but that was the only other land there, and he wants to, like, if necessary, be able to cast the other Grisly salvage. But he peels the Temple Garden there, so he's going to be able to get that Thragtusk on the turn.
Interesting. Normally against a Jund deck, you'd love to have the Angel Thragtusk hand that Andrew is set up with. Because Evan's deck is full of cards like Thundermaws and Aristocrats, and because Evan's up a turn on mana, it might even be that when Andrew starts making the Parade of Thragtusks play, that Evan will still just be able to swing through it. Andrew doesn't actually have an answer yet to Thundermaw Hellkite, and one's going to come down very soon.
Yeah. So we see a Ensep. So we see a Flinthoof Boar, given it haste, attacking Andrew down to 13, and the Ensep Grisly Salvage.
That salvage was somewhat of a whiff. It got an Acidic Slime. It was the choice between an Acidic Slime and an Overgrown Tomb. What Andrew was really hoping to see there was an Angel of Serenity.
Yep. He already has the Unburial Rights, and he just wants to be able to, you know, have a target that is exciting for it. Instead, he's probably going to just Unburial Rights the Thragtusk in his graveyard.
I would think so. He's going, you know, he's at 13. He's facing down 4 damage next turn to 9. Evan has a grip of 4 cards. You have to assume there's an Aristocrat or a Hellkite or something pretty big in that he's still holding on to. Your life total is very much not in a safe place right now, and Thragtusk is the best way to start working on stabilizing the board.
And Andrew at this point actually needs to be thinking about racing a little bit, right? Because if he assumes that Evan has a Thundermaw Hellkite, he doesn't have an answer to that, right?
Maybe. I mean, it's not really a possibility is the thing. If he's racing, he's removing his blockers, and he's far enough behind here that that's not really a reasonable thing to do. I think what he's hoping to do is hold back trade and win with an Angel. Okay. So you think that the best course of action for him is to hope to find an Angel in the next few draw steps? I mean, we have a Falcon, an Aristocrat. There's following up is going to be a Thundermaw Hellkite. This isn't something that Andrew can actually race against.
Okay. So Andrew takes the hit from the Falconwrath Aristocrat. Evan is holding back the boar, potentially.
There's some interesting things. Andrew has the option to play an Acidic Slime. Evan missed a land drop, and Andrew has to be pretty worried about Thundermaw Hellkite, and by casting an Acidic Slime, he's taking that out away. The danger behind that is that Andrew still doesn't have an answer to Falconwrath Aristocrat itself, and so he's opting instead to make the Angel Thragtusk play. If Evan draws a land, that's gonna may end up costing Andrew, which Evan does.
Yep. So we have the Blood Crypt for Evan. He's got the Thundermaw Hellkite in hand. Presumably that he's going to slam this and see if Andrew is able to deal with his 2 big flyers. And the answer is probably no.
On this swing is going to mean that Andrew may have to try to race back, which puts him in a pretty awkward situation. That's not what he wants to be doing.
So Evan plays the Hellkite, and he's attacking with his 2 flyers.
9 in the air. The Angel will be nothing. The Angel can only trade with Arbor Elf here, which is really not exciting for Andrew. He can make it so he's only taking 4 in the air. Essentially because when he makes this blink, he'll be going down to, he'll be going down to 10 as opposed to going to 5.
Yeah, but that doesn't solve the problem long term.
No. Long term, he has a Fiend Hunter. That's a start. You can Fiend Hunt the Thundermaw Hellkite, and then just hope your opponent doesn't have a kill spell. But, and that may be the only line he has available to him.
Yep. So
we have quite a lovely beast token from Andrew.
So we're gonna see if there are any blocks here, and is the Angel chumping?
I don't think so. You can always do that next turn. If you want. It's trading with an Arbor Elf. That's pretty miserable.
I don't like blocking here, but it looks like Andrew's really considering it.
I mean, maybe he does need to. The reason you wouldn't block with it is if you're worried that Evan has a kill spell or another Thundermaw. You don't really have to worry about a second Thundermaw because that's just going to kill you if he has it. So it's really if you're worried that Evan has maybe a Dreadbore. That would be why you'd make the jump now.
Yeah. So Andrew looks like he takes the full 9. Evan's going to pass the turn back. We're going to see the Fiend Hunter from Andrew. And so we have a draw of a Centaur Healer from Andrew, which will shore up his life total a little bit, but it isn't solving the problems that we already have.
Yeah. Other news in them, Cedric Phillips did win his match, which that means Andrew will be in the top 8 with a win here.
Congratulations.
I believe we'll be in with the top 8. I'd have to, greatly increases his chances at the very least.
So we have an attack by the Beast token and the Thragtusk. Andrew is at this point saying, "Oh, I need to be racing here.
Yep.
That's the way I'm going to win this game because I don't have enough answers to all these flyers." And then he's going to play the Fiend Hunter and the Centaur Healer, exiling the Thundermaw Hellkite, gaining 3 life, which gives him an extra turn against the Falconwrath.
The situation is not terrible for Andrew. So I guess if he can, obviously drawing to Angel, both players have a bunch of trump cards. An Angel of Serenity from Andrew wins the game, another Thundermaw, or even a kill spell from Evan should win the game because of where this Fiend Hunter is going to have to go.
Does it make it? I don't think it makes any sense, but does it make any sense to get the Aristocrat?
Well,
so
if you're getting the Aristocrat, and what he's going to do, yeah, it does, because it's a hedge here against a kill spell. Because now, if there is a kill spell, Andrew will still have a chump block available to him. He can chump and counter. Yeah. He'll be 1 damage short in that situation. Actually, no, it would be if he chumps in. So say Evan just taps out for a kill spell and swings.
Yep.
Then Andrew can chump, trade with Arbor Elf, and swing exactly 9. He would not be able to do that if it was Thundermaw Hellkite. Another Aristocrat for Evan, but he's a little short on mana. He opted to start with Ground Seal as opposed to a Flint of 4 with Haste, which is probably correct.
Yeah, he could, if he wanted the Flint of 4 with Haste, he still had the option of untapping with the Arbor Elf to give it Haste. And
the lack of mana, the lack of kill spells here for Evan has actually somewhat started to turn. This game is turning toward Andrew.
Yep. It's close enough that we can't really predict what's going to happen because the top of the deck is so live. And Andrew, in this case, top decks the Angel of Serenity. He doesn't have 7 mana out right now, however, and I don't think he has a land in hand. I believe he's got a Mana Elf in hand.
He does not. Yeah.
What is that third card?
And he has another Thragtusk, which is pretty real also.
Yeah. So
I'm thinking this game goes to Andrew at this point. The fact that he just has more Thrag Tusks, and what he's doing is really smart. He's mixing an attack with blocking. He's not swinging the Angel here, even though he has the option to swing the Angel, because he knows he has the follow-up Thrag Tusk play. He's smartly protecting his life total, even in what appears to be a really aggressive situation.
He's leaving himself options here. Like the Angel helps dissuade an attack from the 2 ground creatures, but it also gives him the option of just chumping the Thundermaw Hellkite if he's concerned about getting burned out.
He can even chump with Fiend Hunter if it comes to that, which is, I mean, obviously isn't something he'd like to do, but is available. If he needs to chump with Fiend Hunter next turn and say if everything falls apart, he can chump with Fiend Hunter and then hope to draw the land.
Yep. So Evan's put to a decision about whether he wants to block, whether he can afford to take 8 damage and go to 1. And so Evan does. He goes to 1. Andrew follows up with a Thrag Tusk going at 13. And now Evan is the one who needs to repeal.
Well, Evan doesn't have the life gain necessary to get out of this situation. His deck's not designed to do this. His deck's designed, to play from behind. Evan's way to play from behind is to play more damage as opposed to playing catch up.
And so at this point, he's facing down 5 lethal creatures, and he's got 3 potential blockers.
Right, 4 if he plays another creature, so he needs to make 2 creatures, which he can't do.
Yeah.
Because the swing's not lethal, yeah, and he taps out for it. 4 creatures facing off against Andrew's 5. Evan doesn't have the blocks. And he doesn't have the damage to win on this attack.
Yeah. So it looks like Andrew is going to be able to pull this one out. It looked a little bit dicey for a little while there. But Evan plays his 4th creature, and now he just is seeing if Andrew realizes that his Fiend Hunter is a lethal attack.
Oh, and Andrew doesn't even, no need to think about it. We just have the Angel of Serenity.
I'll falter you.
All right.
Well, congratulations to Andrew Butterworth winning that game against Evan Nelson's Jund Aggro deck.
So we're going to be right down to the wire here. Interestingly enough, what that does, typically to be able to know who's in the top 8, we know that of Andrew, so I'll kind of lay out some people who are in it. We know right now that our current top 8 is Cedric Phillips, Greg Peliquin, Jordan Judson, Austin Tolkien, Brendan Gould, and we have 3 pretty anxious people here who'd be waiting. Troy Kane, Michael Nixon, and now Andrew Butterworth all entered last round within 2/10 of a tiebreaker of each other. Oh, wow. And of those 3, 2 of them will be in the top 8.
That's pretty close. So
I would say it is reasonable for any of them to be the one that misses at this point.
Yeah.